right, let's dive in. We're back for another deep dive. Today we're heading to Hogwarts.
Back to the magical world of Harry Potter. But this time we're going deeper, beyond the movies, into the books.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to get nerdy. So what's the plan for today?
Well, for those who've only seen the movies, there's a whole world of characters and stories that you might not know about.
Okay, so like what kind of stuff are we talking about here?
Let's start with characters who are often misunderstood, like Severus Snape, for instance.
Oh, Snape. Yeah, he's definitely a complicated character.
In the movies, they show his, his connection with Harry and all that, but they don't really delve into his flaws.
Right, like his bullying and his prejudice against Muggleborns, like Hermione.
Yeah, exactly. In the books, you see a much darker side. It makes you question his motivation, even his protection of Harry.
Speaking of Snape and his darker side, what about that spell Leave Corpus?
Oh, right. The one that makes you hang upside down.
Yeah, in the movies, it's just a prank, right?
Yeah.
But in the books, we find out that Snape created it, and he used it on James Potter first.
That's true. It definitely adds a whole new layer to their rivalry, doesn't it? Makes you wonder what else Snape was capable of.
Okay, so Snape's got a lot more going on in the books. What about other characters?
Well, how about Hermione? Movie Hermione is great, but she's a little too perfect.
Yeah, book Hermione is much more of a badass. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty, you know?
Absolutely. She's passionate about House Elfrey, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to fight for what she believes in, even if it means bending the rules a bit.
Oh, yeah. Remember SPEW, the Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare?
How could we forget?
And don't even get me started on Rita Skeeter. Hermione totally blackmailed her.
She did what she had to do to expose the truth. It shows her her resourcefulness and her determination.
It's one of the things I love about book Hermione. She's not just brilliant, she's a real fighter. Okay, so we've talked about Snape and Hermione. Who's next on our list of misunderstood characters?
How about Percy Weasley? The movies touch on his ambition and his, his falling out with his family.
Yeah, but they don't really capture how harsh he was, especially towards his family.
Right. In the books, his betrayal is much more painful. He really turns his back on them for a year. Pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. And his redemption in the final battle is even more powerful because of how far he fell. It really shows the power of family and forgiveness. Okay, let's move on to a character who's maybe not misunderstood, but definitely terrifying. What about Fenrir Greyback?
Oh, Greyback. Yeah, he's definitely one of the scariest characters in the books. The movies don't even come close to capturing how creepy he is.
Right. He's not just a werewolf, he's like a sadistic predator.
Exactly. He intentionally targets children. He's the one who bit Remus Lupin, when Remus...
Wow, I'd forgotten about that. It makes his presence in the books even more chilling. Okay, let's switch gears for a second. This is something I've always wondered about. What about Neville Longbottom? Could he have been the chosen one?
It's an interesting thought, right? The prophecy could have applied to either Harry or Neville.
So Voldemort's the one who made Harry the chosen one by choosing to go after him that night.
Exactly. It makes you wonder what would have happened if Voldemort had targeted Neville instead. What kind of wizard would Neville have become?
Mind-blowing. I love how the books raise these kinds of questions. Makes you really think about destiny and free will.
It's one of the things that makes the Harry Potter world so fascinating. It's full of these what-ifs and possibilities.
It's not all darkness and prophecies, though. Let's talk about something a little more fun, like what about Fred and George?
The Weasley twins. Oh, they're brilliant. Their pranks and their inventions add so much humor to the books.
I know. Their exit from Hogwarts is legendary, setting off fireworks and unleashing Peeves on Umbridge.
Classic. It really shows their rebellious spirit and their entrepreneurial spirit, too. Think about Weasley's Wizard Weasley.
They definitely knew how to make a statement and a galleon or two. But, for all the laughter and fun, there's also a lot of love and loss in the Harry Potter world.
That's true. And the books explore these themes in a way that the movies just don't have time for.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of those hidden love stories. What about Voldemort's parents?
Oh, that's a dark one. In the books, we learn that Voldemort's mother used a love potion on his father.
A love potion? Seriously?
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. It explains a lot about Voldemort's inability to love. He was literally conceived through magic and coercion.
Whoa, that's heavy stuff.
It really highlights the destructive power of obsession and the importance of free will in matters of the heart.
Okay, let's move on to a slightly less disturbing love story. What about Lily and Snape?
Their relationship is so complex. It's full of unrequited love, regret, and ultimately sacrifice.
It's heartbreaking, really. Snape's love for Lily shaped his entire life, even though she chose James.
And his actions, both good and bad, were driven by that love. It's a reminder that even the most flawed people are capable of deep emotion.
It makes you wonder what might have happened if things had been different, Okay, are there any love stories in the wizarding world that don't end in tragedy?
Well, even the happier love stories have a bittersweet edge to them, like Remus Lupin and Tonks.
Oh yeah, their story is so beautiful, but it ends so tragically.
Their deaths in the Battle of Hogwarts are definitely some of the most heartbreaking moments in the series.
It's a reminder that even in a world of magic, war has very real consequences. But, even amidst all the loss, there are stories of courage and resilience.
That's true. Like Dumbledore's army. The movies show them fighting back against Umbridge, but the books really delve into their individual stories.
Yeah, like Neville. He goes from this shy, awkward kid to a brave leader who defies Voldemort.
His journey is incredible. And then there's Dean Thomas. He's barely in the movies, but in the books, he gets captured and imprisoned in Malfoy Manor.
Wow, I didn't know that about Dean.
Mhm.
It really puts things in perspective. The impact of Voldemort's reign of terror was widespread.
It shows that even seemingly ordinary people can be heroes.
So much to unpack here. But we've only just scratched the surface of all the amazing characters and stories in the Harry Potter books.
And we've got a lot more to explore. Join us next time as we dig even deeper into the hidden lore of Harry Potter.
Welcome back, Potterheads. It's amazing, isn't it, how much we miss when we only watch the movies.
Yeah, the books really add so much depth to the story. It's like seeing it with fresh eyes.
Absolutely. It's like discovering all these secret passageways and hidden rooms at Hogwarts. So what other secrets are we uncovering?
Well, we've talked about misunderstood characters, but what about things that just completely vanished from the movies?
Oh, interesting. Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, how about vanishing cabinets?
Vanishing cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the ones Draco uses in Half-Blood Prince.
Exactly. He uses them to, smuggle Death Eaters into Hogwarts. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but it's not in the movie at all.
Nope, gone. It really adds to Draco's story, though. Makes his role in the whole thing more complex.
I guess the filmmakers had to make some tough choices, huh? What else didn't make the cut?
Well, there's Peeves.
Peeves. Wait, who's Peeves again?
He's the poltergeist. The one who's always causing trouble at Hogwarts?
Oh, right. Why wasn't he in the movies?
No idea. He would have been great on screen, though. All that chaotic energy.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, anyone else?
Well, what about Winky?
Winky. Refresh my memory.
She's the house elf. She worked for the Crouch family.
Oh, right. The one Barty Crouch Jr. was controlling.
Yeah. Her story is actually really sad. She gets, unfairly dismissed and ends up, struggling.
I'd forgotten about her. I bet her story would have added a lot to the whole house elf rights theme, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's a big part of the books. It shows how, even in the magical world, there's prejudice and injustice.
Right. It's not all fun and games. Okay, so some things were completely cut, but did they change anything else in the movies? Like stuff that actually happened in the book?
Yeah, there were some significant changes. Remember when Hagrid's hut gets set on fire?
Yeah, pretty intense scene.
Well, in the movie, it's Bellatrix who does it, right?
Makes sense. She's pretty unhinged.
But in the book, it's actually a Death Eater named Thorfinn Roll.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't Bellatrix at all.
Nope. It changes the whole vibe of the scene, In the book, it's less about Bellatrix and more about the Death Eaters just, terrorizing everyone.
Right. It's more about the bigger picture, like how bad things are getting.
Exactly. And speaking of things that were downplayed, there's the whole curse on the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Oh, yeah, the curse. They mention it in the movies, but it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, but in the books, it's this looming presence. Every year, there's a new teacher, and everyone's wondering if they'll make it through the year.
Right. It's like this constant reminder that something's not right at Hogwarts. Even when Voldemort's not around, his influence is still there.
Yeah, it adds to the whole suspense, makes things feel a little bit spooky. Did you know, by the way, that Hagrid almost got arrested by Umbridge?
Wait, seriously, tell me more.
Yeah, in Order of the Phoenix, Umbridge tries to arrest Hagrid. She shows up with a bunch of Aurors and everything.
Oh, wow. What happened?
Well, Hagrid, being Hagrid, he fights back. Throws them around like gnomes or something.
I wish they'd kept that in the movie.
Huh.
Seeing Hagrid take on a bunch of Aurors would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah. Classic Hagrid.
Okay, so they changed some big stuff. But what about the small details? The little things that add flavor to the story?
Oh, those are my favorite. Remember when Dumbledore sends a howler to Petunia?
Oh, we're to Petunia.
Yeah. It's just this quick moment, but it shows a different side of Dumbledore, He can get angry, too. And it reminds you that Petunia is connected to the magical world, whether she likes it or not.
Good point. Those little details really make the story feel, more real.
Right. It's like these characters have lives outside of the main plot. Speaking of which, I love how the books describe the Quidditch matches.
Oh, yeah. There's so much more exciting in the books. Yeah. The movies barely show any of it.
Yeah, in the books you get all the plays, the strategies, the trash talk. It's intense.
And the Weasley twins commentary. It's hilarious. They make those matches so much fun.
Oh, yeah, totally. Remember when Ginny tackles Zachariah Smith? after he keeps insulting the Gryffindor team.
Yeah, go Ginny. She doesn't take any crap from anyone.
It shows how tough she is, and it's something you don't really see in the movies.
Yeah, she's a bit more, I don't know, subdued in this.
Definitely. And it's not just the individual matches. The whole Quidditch World Cup is a bigger deal in the book.
Oh, yeah. You see all the different teams, the rivalries, the crazy fans.
Exactly. And remember Ludo Bagman.
Oh, yeah. The guy who loses all his money betting on the matches.
He's such a shady character. You get a lot more of him in the book.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Yeah.
Right. There's always more to discover. Speaking of characters with hidden depths, what about the Marauders?
Ah, James, Sirius, Remus. They're fast.
The movies show some of their pranks, but the books really dive into their story. You know, both the good and the bad.
Yeah, like how James saved Snape's life.
Wait, what? He did?
Yeah. That's a pretty big moment. Shows that James wasn't all bad, even though he was kind of a jerk to Snape sometimes.
It's a shame they didn't include that in the movies. That adds a lot to their whole dynamic.
It also explains why Snape is so conflicted about James, right?
Yeah, totally. Makes you understand his resentment, but also his guilt.
And the Marauders map. The books tell the whole story of how they created it. It's pretty amazing.
Those guys were seriously talented and mischievous.
But the books also show their flaws, their bullying, their recklessness. It reminds you that even the good guys aren't perfect.
Yeah, everyone makes mistakes. It makes them feel more human, I guess.
Makes the story more realistic, too.
Right, for sure.
But
Okay, I'm officially overwhelmed. So much great stuff in the books that we never saw on screen.
I know, right? And we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to discover.
Well, listeners, our journey through the hidden world of Harry Potter continues in the next part. Get ready for more mind-blowing revelations. All right, welcome back to our Harry Potter deep dive. I feel like my brain is overflowing with all this new information about the books.
I know, right? There's so much we never knew. But we're not done yet, are we?
Nope, not even close. So what's on the agenda for today?
Well, we've talked about the big stuff, like misunderstood characters and missing. But today I want to focus on the little thing, the details that make the world feel so...
Oh, I love those little moments. The stuff you only catch if you're really paying attention. Give me an example.
Okay, how about this? Remember that scene in the first movie when Harry sees Hogwarts for the first time?
Oh, yeah. It's so magical. All those sweeping shots of the castle.
Right, but in the book, Harry's first reaction is a little different. Tired and hungry because Hagrid forgot to feed him.
Oh, poor Harry. It's easy to forget that even in a magical world, kids still need to eat.
Exactly. It makes Harry more relatable, don't you think? Plus, it shows how Hagrid, bless his heart, can be a little clueless sometimes. Speaking of Hagrid, did you know that Norbert, the dragon, is actually a female?
Wait, seriously? I always thought Norbert was a boy.
Nope. It turns out Norbert is actually Norberta. We find out later when Charlie Weasley tells Hagrid.
That's hilarious. Makes their whole dragon smuggling operation even more chaotic.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? What other tiny but awesome details did I miss?
Okay, get this. Moaning Myrtle, the ghost in the bathroom. She becomes like Draco Malfoy's confidante.
Moaning Myrtle and Draco Malfoy. That's an odd couple.
I know, right? But it makes sense when you think about it. Myrtle is always watching everyone, and Draco, he's got all this pressure on him with Voldemort and all that.
Yeah, I guess Myrtle's someone he can talk to without being judged, even if she is a bit, mopey.
Exactly. It just goes to show every character has their own story.
Mm.
Okay, ready for another one? This one's about Rita Skeeter.
Oh, Rita Skeeter, the queen of gossip. What about her?
Well, in the books, we find out she's an unregistered animagus.
An animagus. That means she can turn into an animal, right?
Yeah? And guess what animal she turns into?
I don't know. A snake? A spider?
A beetle.
A beetle? Seriously. That's so perfect for her, though, sneaking around, listening in on everyone.
I know, right? It's like a metaphor for her whole journalism style. Okay, last one. This one's a bit dark.
Hit me with it.
Remember Barty Crouch Jr., the guy who pretends to be Mad-Eye Moody?
Yeah, the one who put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire. Creepy dude.
So in the movies, they kind of imply that he goes back to Azkaban, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But in the book, something much worse happened. He gets the Dementor's kiss.
Oh, wow. The Dementor's kiss. That's pretty rough.
It is. They suck out his soul. It's basically a fate worse than death.
Whoa. It really shows how high the stakes are and how dark the wizarding world can be.
It makes you think, doesn't it? About justice and punishment and all that.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface of all the amazing stuff in the Harry Potter books. It's incredible how much depth there is to the story.
It really is. There's always something new to discover. even after all these years.
I know. It makes me want to go back and reread the whole series again.
Me too. You always find something you missed before.
Well, listeners, that's it for our deep dive into the hidden world of Harry Potter. But the magic doesn't end here, right?
Not at all. There's a whole world of wonder waiting to be explored in the books. So go forth, fellow Potterheads, and keep the magic alive.
And that's our show. Until next time, keep exploring and never stop believing in the power of magic.